Let's get started. Ready, Rachel? Perfect. Welcome, everyone, and thank you very much for joining for this first, let's say, episode for this Salesforce Partner Days, this series of 10 episodes to help you to discover more about Tableau, about the platform, about the ecosystem, and how to become successful partners to help your clients on that. Next slide, please. Not sure it's working. Can you hear me?
Can you see the?
It's still the first slide.
Oh, I know what it is. Now it should be done.
All right, perfect. Today, I'm joined by my colleague, Rachel Costa. Actually, you can put the next slide. Rachel started her career as a journalist, and a few years ago, she moved into the world of the partner world, like you. She's a data geek, and she discovered Tableau at that time, actually. Since then, she joined obviously Tableau, as you know. She is a co-leader of Data Plus Women, and she's extremely well known actually in the Tableau community. If you look on Twitter for her Twitter handle and a Tableau public profile, she has a lot of very impressive visualization on that extent.
Thank you, Mark. And introducing Mark. Mark works on the same team than I. We're both on the partners team. He's been with Tableau for the past 4 years, and the past 2 fully dedicated to the partners ecosystem. So helping the partners to understand and to do what Tableau does best, that is to help people see and understand data. Mark also, he helps to keep the work of the Tableau Foundation in the London office. That is where he is based. So this is a bit about Mark and a bit about today, what we'll be doing. So first of all, welcome to the Tableau world. I guess that for most of you, this is something new, right? We're coming from the Salesforce environment and maybe having the first contact or one of the first ones with the Tableau world. So the idea of today will be to give an overview of what we do, a part of wearing our beautiful t-shirts that we love data. So we'll start by explaining what Tableau is, why we're different. We'll talk a bit about our platform. We'll do a little demo because we like to show people how it really works. And then we will do what's next, so you know how you can engage with us. And of course, question answers in the end. And before starting, just a little bit of housekeeping. If you have questions, feel free to use the chat. You find it in the bottom of your WebEx. I was to say Zoom, but we're using WebEx today. Feel free to say hi, say the organization that you work for, where you're based. I'm personally based in the Netherlands, talking from Rotterdam. Mark is from London. So feel free to introduce yourself, say hi. And if you like social media, also feel free to use the hashtag Salesforce Partners Days and tweet or LinkedIn about the event. So as I promised, we would start by what we do, what Tableau is. And to talk about what Tableau is, we need to go back to what we work with, right? Because Tableau is basically focused in data, right? We exist to make data something useful and easy to understand to a lot of people. And why is it important? So if we look and if we talk about the data about data, that is something interesting to look at. We're producing more and more and more and more and more data year by year. So just to give an idea for you all, if we look at 2020, we generated 50 times more data than in 2011. So it's something like in 10 years, we it started to generate 50 times more data. So this is a lot of thing, right? And this is not just a number. This is something like uh, things that we should understand, right? This is data coming from our interactions, from the companies that we work for customers. And we need to understand how to use this data. So this is what we do, and that's the reason that I put here our mission as the first slide, because I guess that it helps. It really helps to understand what we do, because what we do is we help people to see and understand data. So our main idea is to offer something easy that will allow people to analyze this data and use this data to solve problems. So to bring this data to the real world and really turn it into something understandable, useful, and beautiful. And just to give you an idea about how flexible we are and how powerful Tableau can be, I added here two examples. So in the bottom of the slide, you see two different visualizations of data. And the idea here is to show how data is dynamic and how data is not boring. So I guess that we don't need to think about a boring database with 100 different tables that we don't know how to connect them. Data is part of our lives, and it can be exciting. So this is what we do. And since last year, this is where we are. So Tableau now is, as you know, we're part of Salesforce, and we're inside the 360 wheel where we have the customer in the middle, right? We are the analytics side of it. So we're bringing the analytics knowledge that we developed in the past years, bringing it now also to the Salesforce environment. And why? I guess that the main question here and the main answer to this question is because Tableau is a platform for those of you that are new and are having the first contact with Tableau now. If you look at a Tableau, if you Google our names, you see that we're kind of a platform that is quite popular in the area of data analysis. And for different reasons. I think that one of them, of course, is that we really offer a possibility of integration. So in the technical side of data, you can connect data from different data source. We'll explore it a bit more in this presentation, but you see that it's a bunch of things that you can bring together. We're a very intuitive platform, so it's easy to use. Our focus is really in making it easier and easier and easier, not more and more complicated. It's just the opposite. And this focus helps because we empower people in the end to help to use this data. So we make it something easy to use, easy to turn into insights, and easy to bring to life. And that's the main thing about a Tableau. So it's a tool that is really here to empower people to use what is in the background to bring this data to life. And now up to you, Mark, to talk a bit about why we're different.
Yeah. So as Rachel was saying earlier, like our mission is we help people see and understand data. And the product was built in the ground up in that direction. So it's very much the idea of we believe in the power of visual analysis and not data visualization. There is a fundamental difference here. Data visualization, when you create it, will be, I want to create this specific chart, so I have to select in these charts tool, like which one I want to use and what are the dimension and measures I'm going to use for that. At the opposite, visual analysis is bringing the power of drag and drop, bringing the power of interacting with the different dimension and measures and generating visuals on the top of that. So it's an idea of having a flow of analytics for the end users without thinking about what kind of calculation, what kind of visual is needed to do that. It's just letting ask question to the data and making it visual directly. That's the main differentiator that we have with Tableau. It's very iterative, it's non-linear, and that's why people use it and like it in that direction. Next slide, please. In the same extent, all the product was built. So VSQL, which is this patented query language that Tableau created, is what make Tableau very different. That's what created Tableau initially. That's the very much groundbreaking technology. And the idea is like translating drag and drops of dimension and measures into a SQL statement sent to the database, to the data source, and translate it back once we receive the data into a visualization. As you can see, we do totally abstraction of inviting the user to generate a SQL query. We don't want the user to think about that. This is to go back to the point I was making just earlier. It's very much like taking all the difficult parts away and focusing on the analysis. And that means we can address a different public. Obviously, we have a lot of data scientists and engineer and statistician was using the product to do their initial discovery. But that's where we really thrive is with business users, with users who are not specifically literate about SQL statement, about doing very complex calculation to prepare the data. The second and third key component is about, sorry, just a little bit before again. Second and third component is about connecting to the data. Obviously, there is two ways, is either having like a live connection to the data source or having an extract of this data. We have a live query engine, so the idea is like connecting to any database, cube, warehouse, cloud services, even Hadoop, and being able, again, to do those queries without thinking about SQL statement, about how to query this data. Very easy. In a case where clients are facing a database which is not optimized for analytical purposes, or they want to improve the performance to render a visualization, they can use our proprietary technology Hyper, which is an in-memory technology data engine, to basically make this very fast and fluid interaction with the data. Next slide. So now you cannot miss, obviously, that we've been acquired by Salesforce, and you have many of you who are Tableau or Salesforce partners are informed that there were a shift into how Salesforce is going to position its analytics offering. So Einstein Analytics, formerly known Einstein Analytics, is becoming Tableau CRM, so it's being now part of the Tableau family. The first thing to say is don't worry if you are a Salesforce partner and you love Einstein Analytics or Tableau CRM. We're not taking away the technology. We're not taking away the power and how it helps already your clients. We really want to put an end here. What's going to happen over the next few releases will be to have a very deep interoperability between the two platforms, Tableau and Tableau CRM. The idea is to be able to use the data across both platforms and functionality across both. Tableau CRM is very much servicing another use case as well. It's important to understand. The idea of Tableau CRM is actionable insight into your Salesforce Cloud environment, being able to drive some insight using like machine learning and artificial intelligence, so being able to do some predictive analytics most. Tableau has been positioned and continue to be positioned as a complete end-to-end platform where you're going to have the possibility to connect to your data up to sharing the data. And we're really much addressing enterprise-wide needs across departments, across industries. And this is where we thrive, is when we need to connect to any data store in any different type of places here. And that's where we can have the complementarity of the products. And obviously, in the future, having like complete interoperability on both of them. Next slide. So let's try today to continue to dive into Tableau specificities. So for our platform, First of all, connectivity. So we touched on that. The idea is to be able to connect to any kind of data. So Rachel is going to highlight that after, but we have a very deep flexibility in terms of connectivity to the product. And it's really powerful when we consider clients with a lot of business application. So Tableau can be kind of the glue between those business applications, making a relation between those data sets to drive more insight and potentially actions. So we connect, clean, and prepare your data. So this can be directly with Tableau Desktop or with Tableau Prep, and it's still in a visual manner. With Tableau Desktop or the web edit, you're going to do your analytics, so generate insights. So as I was explaining a little bit earlier, drag and drop, generating views, visuals, and making sense of the data, and obviously generating dashboards to have your measurements, your KPIs. All of that is shared after securely in either Tableau Server or Tableau Online, which is our SaaS offering. And the idea is very much like collaboration, but also governance. We want to make sure that the data is accessible to the right people with the right set of governance in the platform. And to complete that, so we have Tableau Catalog, which helps to basically have a better idea of the lineage of the data, which also integrates really well with our technology partners such as Alation, and be able to bring trust for the DBAs to see the lineage in the environment, but also for business users to be able to better find the right data and find the right information in the hierarchy here in the environment. And last but not least, obviously, underpinning the entire platform is a set of APIs who help to drive adoption at scale in enterprise environments, but also integration with our technology partners. And about connectivity, Rachel, on your side.
So I guess that one of the big things that we have is connectivity, right? And why it's different. So I think that one of the big things that you'll find in Tableau is when you open the software and you start to use it, you go there, you click, and you have a lot of native connectors that you literally you don't need to do anything. You just click enter the credentials and you will connect to the database. So this is something quite powerful. At the moment, we have hundreds of direct connections. You can see here on the screen some examples. So we do connect to Amazon, Athena, Aurora, Redshift. We connect to SQL, that is another very common one. We do have SAP. So you do have a lot of possible connections that you can do directly from Tableau without the need of anything else. So you don't need to create an API. You don't need to use any type of code. It's directly in your hands. You open the software and it's there for you. And you have also our partners. So if you look at the right-hand side, you have the partners ecosystem, and you see lots of names that are quite well known, right? And what means with those partners is that those are other platforms that are super common that the customers will already have, and that can be integrated with us. So it doesn't matter, for instance, you see that some of them, they are data storage platforms, other of them, they are cataloging platforms. So for instance, we have Alation, we have Colibra. Doesn't matter. They are all you can work with them all together with Tableau. That is something that turns Tableau quite powerful because you can bring it in inside your strategy without needing to restart everything again, right? You don't need to destroy all you have in the organization. You can bring it as a new layer and put it together with what you already have. And of course, when we talk about a Tableau, I guess that something that is quite important is to understand that, yes, we are a tech company. We do an amazing platform, a software, but we're not only this. And this is a big difference. I think that a big differentiator when you compare Tableau to other BI platforms. And let's say that they all try to copy us on this because Tableau has a very quite powerful community. This is quite important, especially for partners, because you see that lots of them are super powerful in our community. The Tableau community is a space where you see people sharing knowledge, organizing stuff. So, for instance, at the moment we have around 400 groups globally, groups of people organizing events locally. It's a bit what I do with the Data Plus Women. We are a group that we have some support from Tableau, and we organize events for people interested in knowing more about data. We have the Tableau community. We have a platform where people can go there, ask questions, answer questions, share knowledge. And it's a very, very, very active and interesting environment. And as I mentioned, in the partner side of things, you see that lots of our partners, they are what we call Zen masters, that are people that know a lot about Tableau, and then they receive this title of Zen masters. They are recognized as Zen masters. Or they are Tableau ambassadors that are also people with a lot of knowledge on the platform that help to share their knowledge and bring more people to use it. So this is one side of our not necessarily tech differentiators. And the other one that is also quite interesting and quite important to the partners is the blueprint. And the blueprint is a framework that was created by Tableau. And the idea of the blueprint is to make it easier for the organizations to really implement the data-driven culture, right? Because everyone would like to have it, but it's when they start to work on it, of course, the organizations start to find the blockers. So sometimes it's something that you're trying to make the software work well and it's not going so well. Other times it's because people are not adopting it. So you did the investment, but the adoption is still low. And what we try to do with the blueprint is to unblock those things. It's basically, it comes from, the idea of the blueprint comes from the experience of the organizations that use Tableau. And we try to use it to make now easier for other organizations to implement it also. So it works in any type of organization. It doesn't matter if it's a small one, a big one, if it's regional, if it's global. The idea is that you have those three areas that you can see in our tube map, so in our kind of metro map. So we have those three areas that are agility, proficiency, and community that we try to suggest. What we do in the blueprint is we suggest things to make them stronger. And usually what you see in our partners environment is that our partners, they are helping the organizations using the blueprint. So they help the organizations to use the blueprint in a meaningful way. So just quickly around the blueprint and around those areas. So we have this first one, agility, that is focused in how to do the technical side. So how to scale Tableau, so how to make it from the test environment that you start with to make it successful and implement it to the full organization. Proficiency, it's more it's more related to how to make sure that the teams have the necessary knowledge and have access to this knowledge inside the organization. So it's about education, how to make people understand the software and use it the right way. And it's also about measuring this knowledge and about making it, bringing best practice to the teams that are inside the organization. And last but not least, we have community that is quite based in our own experience. And community is about helping people to share their knowledge, right? Because this is quite important. And this is a big differentiator. That is when we have those very, very people with a high knowledge of the platform doing amazing things, to help them to find the right channels to share it with other people that are starting and make this process of sharing knowledge something easy and present inside the organization. So those are 2 points. They're quite important, the two of them, to understand our full strategy, not only as a platform, but as the general strategy of Tableau. And we talked a lot, and we'd like now to go, of course, to a bit of a demo because, as I said, in Tableau, we like to show what we do, not only talk about it. So I will invite you all now to see a bit of how it works and forget that I'm Rachel's solution engineer. Let's pretend I'm Rachel and I'm a manager for sales in an organization. And what I'm doing here is I'm preparing, we're having our planning sessions this month, and we're trying to understand what happened to our organization last year. We need to have this big picture of our performance in the past year, and then we need to bring it to life and understand what we can do for 2021. So I will start here with this dashboard. And as you can see, this dashboard in reality is on my email. So I start by here because I receive it on my email. I'm subscribed to it. So every week I receive a copy of what is on the server. I receive it on my email so I can have a look and have an overview of what's happening and how things are going on. Specifically, my position inside the organization is related to the European market. So that's my main point of interest. However, I do have this overview and I can see a bit of everything on the dashboard that I receive, right? So if I look here, I have on the left, the top 20, the profit variation from 2019 to 2020. So we can see that for some countries, COVID, pandemic, lockdown, it hasn't impacted much. However, if we go to the other side, then we have the bottom 20, and then we can see here that yes, for some of them, the things are not that bright. As I said, my main interest here is in Europe, right? So what I will do is from my email, I will click here and I will now navigate to the server. And when I'm in this environment, what happens is that now I can interact with the visualization. So if I hover over, you see that when I'm kind of in one of the regions, you see the countries that are associated to this region highlighted in the top 20 and in the bottom 20. I can click here on the countries of the European Union, and I can have, for instance, more information about them. So now here I'm seeing the sales and profit for each one of the countries on my region. I'm seeing it for this year. So I'm seeing how they're going this year. I can see that from 2019 to 2020, we had the drop, so not good. Our profit was lower last year than this year. I can see that this year, it seems that for some of the countries, the situation wasn't that bad. So for instance, Germany is blue, that's good. France is blue, United Kingdom is blue. However, for some of other countries, things are not that bright. So I can see here Netherlands, we're not going well. Denmark, we're not going well. Sweden, same thing. Ireland, same thing. And Portugal, the same. And of course, we're still affected by COVID. Things is still going on. And we know that last year it impacted a lot our market. So one thing that I guess that could be interesting is in this visual that I'm seeing now, I don't have this information, but maybe it would be interesting if I could see how vaccinations are going, right? Because everyone now is talking about vaccinations. So can we expect that vaccinations will do any good to our markets that have been affected by COVID last year? So what I will do is I will basically ask my colleague Mark, that is now a data analyst, he's not a solution engineer anymore. I will ask Mark if he, by the way, has some data on it. I will post it, and what will happen now is Mark will receive my message and will be able to act on it. So Mark, pass it to you. I will stop, and then you can bring in now your view.
Yeah, so I received Rachel's email about the dashboard, and now we're going to dive into that and try to bring in data set to provide an answer and be able to better know where our company can put the effort in terms of like reopening. So now I'm using the web edit of Tableau, Tableau Online. We're using Tableau Online in this example, so our SaaS offering. And I'm just going to create a new worksheet. And directly from this workbook, I'm going to bring a new data set that I've been publishing, which is about vaccination around the world, and try to overlay that in our visual to try to bring some insights here. So first, let's have a look at our daily vaccinations. We can see that globally, we've been vaccinating 188 million people. And if we look at by date, so I'm going to split that on a daily level, we can see that we've been on average rising up to a peak in 12.7 million on February 9th, which is great news. Splitting that by country, we can see China is vaccinating a lot, followed by Russia. And if we look, maybe it's going to be more relevant by looking at the running total of these values. So which country has vaccinated a large portion of the population. So we have on the top the United States with 56 million, followed by China, then UK and India. But obviously for Rachel to drive any meaningful conclusion, we need to know what is the proportion of the population who's been vaccinated. So if we take Europe, EU and Europe overall, some countries have a very small population while others have a very large one. So we have in this data set a population data as well. So we're going to create a calculated field, so we will be able to have an idea of vaccinated population. We will have an idea of the ratio here. So that will be the total vaccine divided by our population. So simple drag and drop here, created the calculated field, and I'm going to bring it to the view. I'm going to remove the other one, and I'm going to convert that as a percentage, of course. As most of you might know, so Israel is very much ahead here in this case, followed by Seychelles, actually, and UAE, United Arab Emirates, Cayman Island, United Kingdom. So that's quite interesting in this case, vaccination. All right, so let's bring this visualization, into our view. So I'm going to replace our sales 2019 and 2020 by our vaccination data. And I'm just going to add a bit of interactivity, of course. So going to make sure that when I click on the specific country in the dashboard, I will be able to basically see on the percentage vaccination which one is impacted. So I'm going to unselect this one, and I'm going to obviously have the impact on the vaccination. And to make it clear, I'm just going to bring as well a highlight when I hover over. When I hover over a specific country, I want to see the one vaccinated. So going back for European countries here, if I select all of them, we have here in this case a clear outlier, which is the United Kingdom with 25% of the population vaccinated. And after we have a group with someone which is higher, Denmark, and someone which is very lower, Netherlands. Sorry, Rachel, I know you're based there. we can see Sweden is one of our country. We need to actually make action in terms of profit, but is not the one which is doing the best in terms of vaccination. So reopening all the stores is going to be, I guess, complicated, and client might not join. Denmark is the one where we have we can make a shot here in this case, for example, and not yet Netherlands, not yet Portugal. But that give me a good idea, and that's going to help Rachel to drive some conclusion here in the data. So I'm going to save that. Sales plus vaccine data. Dashboard to Rachel. So in the same idea, I'm going to put her comments so she will be able to in her next meeting. And that's actually was doing able to see directly for Europe the data. Here we go. And let's put a comment for Rachel with the data overlay and posts this information. So that was a quick overview, just obviously focusing on adding more data and analyzing it in your process. And there is obviously much more to discover, in particular the entire platform, seeing the security model and the value it can bring for clients. But when clients and partner ask us, like, what are the use cases? Which industries do you work with? As you've seen with the flexibility of the product, it's literally across any department when we obviously help to build some executive dashboard with KPIs to make actions, or basically have a marketing tracking of your customer journey that you have in operation about optimizing the operations and the cash flow in your company when you look at the finance department. Oh, sorry. But it's also across industry. We have use cases in the hospitality industry, financial services, tracking the unplanned maintenance in manufacturing or in healthcare about like patient outcomes in this case. It's a very wide set of use cases given the flexibility of the product. We have a lot of example in our website, like clients talking about the different use cases they have internally. And also some talks from our Tableau conference in this case. And to give you an idea, some of our worldwide clients across different industries. And we have some of them who are heavily investing to move towards Tableau Online as well. So relying on our SaaS product to basically drive consumption inside their company. So what's next for you as partners? Rachel, I think it's for you now.
Yep. So if you watched this, if you've stayed here with us, you're probably asking now, okay, what else you can do, right? So for those of you that would like to understand more, to have more information about what Tableau is and what we do have other sessions coming in. I will put the links in the chat. So
I just put the links. Yeah.
did you? Okay,
yeah.
Perfect. So first one, and if you would like, you can use the QR code. We have the other sessions that you can access. You can see we'll be covering a lot of other topics. The next one is 1st of March, and it's focused and the Tableau Analytics platform in Salesforce. So we will, oh, sorry, okay. So it's about a Tableau platform, the main strategies and technologies that you can use together and what the customers are doing. So you have a bit of use case also. And For those of you that are interested in becoming a partner, so if you're a Salesforce partner and you're not yet a Tableau partner and you would like to become one, so you can use the second URL, tableau.com/partners/become, and send your application. So someone from our team will then contact you and give you the instructions about what to do and how to do it. So next is questions and answers, right? So if any of you have any questions, I think that we have a few minutes, right? Because we have 5 minutes. If you'd like to ask anything, I saw that there was one question on how to connect to SAP that I answered, but I can also answer it here. So SAP, we do have a native connector that you can connect to SAP HANA natively. So you can, if it's in this layer, you can bring it with one of our native connectors. You basically find everything that is in SAP HANA. You can bring it to Tableau. Adobe Analytics, as far as I know, you can extract data from Adobe Analytics and then use in Tableau. And there are some third parties that offer a connector. So just to explain, we do have our native connectors that are built in the platform. And we do have some partners that develop some connectors that you can also use to bring data from things that are not covered by your native connectors. Or, of course, there is a third option in case of teams that you do have someone that can do a bit of development. You can create your own connectors also. So Mark is now in the connectors. Those are the native ones. So Mark, if you'd like to show something, feel free.
I didn't plan to demo, but I guess, list of native connectors, or obviously in every release is being extended. Keep in mind, I'm using from a Mac, so because it's Mac, some of those connectors won't be available. So in Windows, there will be more of some of those connectors. You will see extra of them. To notice web data connector, which is to basically generate extracts, and you can schedule and refresh those extracts for data fed from API. So let's say you want to connect in some API services. The one always coming to mind is Twitter data, but that's a very, very simple use case. But do you have any other? And as Rachel was saying, like using third-party connectors. So that's basically leveraging ODBC and JDBC frameworks in this case. I'm checking if there is any other questions.
Just a quick note. I shared the link to the visualization that was on one of the first slides, the one with the dancing people. Someone asked about it. If you would like to check, it's now in the chat. It's on Tableau Public, so you can interact with the dancers also. You can do some interaction in the dashboard.
Yeah. And in the case, if someone is typing a question, so just to show you the future session. So today's was obviously really basic. It's very much if you just discovering Tableau. Oh, I've been clicking so that. Just discovering Tableau, but next session are going to help you specifically to dive into like the platform a bit more. What are the business use cases that you will find specifically about Tableau CRM, the technical capabilities, using data at scale with a platform, the various licenses that we have, etc., etc. So it's going to go deeper and deeper into the platform in the next all the sessions, and specialized as well. All right, I don't see any other questions.
Yeah, no questions. And I think that we're in our time, right?
So
It's 10:15.
I think I've seen, oh yeah. So someone is asking about like basically this person is beginner with Tableau. Does the Trailhead cover desktop and online part for education? I know the Einstein Analytics part is included in there. And is there a demo org you would suggest for this part? Do you want to answer, Rachel? Or
So the first one is Trailhead, right? If
yeah.
yes, you can find some trails that are dedicated to Tableau. Then you can have an overview of what the software is, how it works, what we do. Of course, if you'd like to go in deep, we recommend to go to the Tableau e-learning platform because then you can really get your hands on. It's more hands-on. The trailheads are a bit broader. And the second question, I'm not seeing the questions on my side. Which one was the second one? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
because it was to me directly, sorry. Yeah, so
Okay.
just to complement, so as Tableau partner, we give you access like to extra training. So Rachel was saying e-learning. I've seen that this person is speaking about Einstein Analytics and org environment. So the reality is we're still integrating with Salesforce. So Trailhead is a part to learn, but that's not where all our educational content lies. So Rachel was saying e-learning, we also have like internal platform. When you have a Tableau partner login, you can access those are one. And specifically for a demo org. So if you are now a Tableau partner, you have some demo licenses. So now, in this case, I will advise you to either reach out to your manager who has access to those demo licenses. So that's a demo for Tableau server, for a demo of creator, but also online sites.
And just a comment on this, Mark, sorry. For the Salesforce partners coming to the Tableau side, for instance, the demo we did, we are not using Salesforce data, so it's not connected to a Salesforce org. It lives on the Tableau server. If you would like to have more info about it, feel free to connect to either Mark or I after after the meeting. We can give more info, and Mark, he is the person that coordinates it internally in Tableau. We do have lots of demos that we make available for the partners. So if you'd like to do it with the customer, we do have some kind of things that you can just reuse, including this one that we showed here today.
All right. So I don't know if there are any other questions. So feel free to join future sessions, obviously. If you're already partner, reach out to your Tableau partner development manager. Reach out to us. We're happy to help you to get onboarded and help your clients. And yeah, I don't see any other question. Any question on your side, on private side, potentially?
The QR code again.
Yes, QR code. Very true. Sorry for
Or
that.
I think that Mark copied the links in the, no, he didn't. Let me quickly do one thing for those that are still. I can also
Yeah.
copy the links and share on the chat if I find them. Here we go.
Yeah.
So you can use the QR code or links in the chat.
All right. I'm stopping the recording here, which is going to be available to anyone. And I cannot stop the recording if I don't stop sharing. That's not practical. Oops. Giving one more minute in the case, but otherwise, thank you very much, everyone, for joining.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and hope to see you all in the next meetings.